let's say that you've had a successful incubation and your babies start pipping out and they start hatching. One of the questions I'm sure you've gotten plenty of times is, I have a baby hog nose and it's not eating. What are some of your strategies that you use to get a picky eater to start eating?
Well, the first thing that I always ask is, what's your temperature like? What size? What's the size enclosure are you keeping? What substrate? Believe it or not, a lot of these people don't know, and the first option is usually a 10-gallon aquarium. And a 10-gallon aquarium might seem suitable for most species, but when it comes to hognose babies, it's not ideal. There's too much open space, and you know that they're already naturally um, dramatic, so that means that they stress easily. They figure, and at that size, they think everything's gonna eat them. So what should you do? What first thing that you should do is try to find something that's a little bit more opaque, so you can black out the sides, black out the back. You can do a lot of different things that would get the animal eating. So I don't always resort to scenting first. I don't think that scenting is always, you know, the go-to. Yeah, you might get the animal to eat one time, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still stressed out or she's still stressed out about everything else that's going on. Like, yeah, you got to get animal to a certain size in order for that animal to feel confident enough to be able to live in a space that big or in that environment where, most people have pets. You have a cat, you have a dog. When you're at work, you don't know how many times that dog or cat is pacing around that cage or around that aquarium. There's a lot of movement, fast movements going on. If it's by a window, sometimes birds come by. They feel like, and naturally a bird can't eat the baby hognose, so they'll be afraid of certain things. So what I do I have a lot of first time, pet owners, a lot of first time snake owners, because they saw us share pictures or your photos or JMG or from anybody, and they fell in love with an animal and they want to own a hognose. It's a lot of people's dreams. If it's in a legal state, I have no problem helping you. I don't have a problem. So I'll tell them, 6-quart bin is usually a good starting point. The Sterlites will have purple latches. That's ideal. It doesn't take a lot. You could just drill holes. If you don't have a drill because not that you're not that good with your hands, or you're not into any carpentry or anything like that, or you don't have a father or mother that can help you, that's fine. You can get a soldering iron. Walmart, it's like $9. Just put some holes in there. Some ventilation is needed. The more the better. And just a little bit of aspirin. I have basically like a checklist that I do to everyone. I have a little price point chart, and most of these things you can get delivered to your home. You can order it off of Amazon. There's thermostats with the that already have their heating element, a heating pad. There's aspirin you can get on there. You can get everything in just a couple days. I make sure that everybody has that before I ship out any animal, especially first time.
Mhm.
First time, of course, if you purchase something from me, I don't have to worry about it because I'm sure you know what you're doing. But for somebody who doesn't know, I make sure that I ask questions without being rude. I ask questions, like, have you ever had a snake before? Can I help you? Make sure that you make yourself available to help ask questions. A lot of people don't like to ask questions because they don't like to sound dumb, and
Mhm.
that's wrong.
It's no dumb question.
There isn't. There isn't. I'd rather you ask me that I've already gone through all the headaches and all the hassle, and I can just give you a fail-proof plan and just tell you, here you go. This is what you need in this list. Purchase it. When you have it purchased, you could call me. You could message me. Some people don't like to talk on the phone nowadays, so text. You could text me. That's fine. I'm available. Everyone knows I'm available at whatever time. You have an issue, and if I'm awake, I don't have a problem helping you. So I'll go ahead and tell you, this is how you set it up. This is how you need to do it. And most people get their animal from a $10 aquarium that they purchase at the store with those regular, like the classic setup with Aspen, those regular water dishes, and just one little hide, that one
Mhm.
little wooden hide that you find everywhere. That's it. And I'm like, that's too bare,
Yeah.
too plain, and it's not gonna work. A lot of times they don't even have like a basic, under tank heater or anything, or not even a thermostat. They just have a light, basking light, 80-watt basking light, 100-watt basking light, and they're cooking the poor snake. It's dry. And then you tell them, listen, it's not that complicated. It's fairly simple. Keeping the hognose alive is fairly simple. Keeping it happy is simple. You just need to make sure that you don't think like a human and you think like a hognose. What would make a baby snake that it doesn't know, it just thinks that everyone's a predator? How can you make that animal happy? Give it a smaller confined space. Doesn't always have to be like that. This could vary by animal. Each animal's different. Some of them are very, outgoing, and then others are more, stressed and stress easily. So this works. 6-quart tub, a nice little layer, about 1.5 inches of substrate, nice water dish, a moist hide or damp hide, and then a hide that's in the hot spot, so they can thermoregulate, but at the same time still hide, so they don't have to worry, because they don't like to be exposed too much.
Yeah.
So, and those little differences, $30, $35 difference, as opposed to $150 for one of those 10-gallon aquarium setups. Sometimes you spend more money on the setup than they do on the snake, and then they end up resorting to $30 setup because
it works.
The way that it goes, it works. It's what you want. You want a happy snake? I want a happy snake. I want you to have a happy snake, because if your snake's happy, you're happy, I'm happy. We're all happy. So sometimes people need to they need to get a different perspective, because a lot of times they think bigger is better. I've had people buy a 6-gram, 10-gram baby, and they want to put it in a 55-gallon because they have a spare 55-gallon in their backyard. It's been there forever. But that's not ideal. Maybe when it's older, but right now, no, you got to take steps and step it up. Then once it's, a lot more secure, it's a much more confident animal. It knows that everything that, walks by is not going to kill them. Maybe it's food. Then they'll be much happier, and they would handle that. So, like I said, it's just paying attention to what the animal is telling you without it having to tell you. Just make sure you're there and you pay attention. A lot of people don't understand that, and once it starts to click, they pick up on it, and then they're golden. They're good after that. And then those are the people that will later on see somebody else that was in their where they were in their shoes,
and they'll help them,
to educate them and tell them, yeah, you know what? Maybe you got to bring it down a little bit. Maybe you need to change the temperature, change where your heat source is coming from. Instead of from up above, try it under tank heater, and do this and do that. And that's the beauty of it. See, when I see people asking questions a week ago and they figured it out, and then they see somebody else 2 weeks later and they're the ones giving advice, that means that what we told them worked, and they're confident enough to be able to give somebody else pointers. And that to me isn't competition. Like, oh, this one's eventually gonna take business. No, there is no such thing as competition.
Exactly.
The more we grow as a whole, the better.
The better for everybody.
The better it is for everyone. That's why I'm not racing for a world's first. I don't want that title. To me, it's not about making it to the top. To me, it's about helping everybody grow there and get there.
Yeah.
Once you're at the top and you're looking down, what good is it? What good? No, but you did it by yourself. That's it. But as everyone grows together and we all learn to do things differently and better, the animals are the ones that end up benefiting the most, because there's no race. There's no race. At least to me, there's no race. Okay. But yeah,